I had just, I met in 2007. I, prior to that, the year before that, no, that year, I'd just done the PR for my friend Jason, who had just pedalled all around the world. And he came back and I did all his PR broadcast media stuff. And I met you. That's why I was confused about when I met you. And I was with this bloke, and I'd met the bloke in April. And what had happened prior to that was my son was at university. I had, in 2004, I'd done the court case. I went to New York to do the court case. And actually, from that court case, I hadn't recovered because I was completely beaten down by my son's father in court in New York. And I hadn't realised that I was so ill and so unwell at that time that I couldn't even work out what 17% of 400,000 was. I couldn't work it out. I hadn't got a decent lawyer here in this country. I hadn't got a New York lawyer. And he was accusing me, my son's father was accusing me of being a gold digger and all of this stuff. And I had a complete and utter breakdown after that. And he didn't really want to know my son at all. And he was using my son and me and playing all sorts of mind games because he actually believed that I was only after him for his money. I actually didn't realise that that's what he was doing, and I was very, very confused. And that was the end of 6 years trying to get him to acknowledge or to be a father to my son, our son, because of decisions that I'd made when he was born, which was all due to my paranoia, which I now realise, which I didn't at the time. I didn't get over the court case. My son left to go. My son did A-levels. He was in a really bad way after the court case because his father had promised given indications of things, and then met him for dinner and said, nobody's going to know about you. My wife is the only person that will know that you exist. My children won't know about you. My parents won't know about you. Nobody's going to know about you. It was horrendous. He had a really bad year, obviously. And then he went off to Australia for a year, and I went into the deepest depression I've ever been in. I actually believed he would never come back. And I spent 3 months in bed, holding his pillow virtually all the time. Couldn't go out. I was drinking again. I missed him terribly. I couldn't function. That was 2006. And then my friend came back. Then I started going into my attic. I had this dream. I had to look for my grandmother's ring, which I've got. And it was in a tiny box, in this other box in my attic. They were the sort of dreams that I was having. And I had to go and find it. And then I had to find my nanny's ring. And then I had to find this, and they were all in boxes within boxes within boxes within boxes within boxes. So I spent weeks and months up in my attic looking for things. Then I'd find letters from people who said, I really miss you. And I thought, what's that? I don't know what missing me is. I don't know what love is. I don't know what it's like to be missed. I just leave. I don't do missing. And then I was doing a counselling course, and they did this, write a list of what endings are. And I said, I don't do endings. What's an ending? And there were all these people, these lovely evolved people going, oh, they're new beginnings. I'm like, what's a new beginning? You know, what is that about? I don't do any of this stuff. I don't understand it. I just leave. And of course I didn't realise that I carried it all in a rucksack and it was choking me. And I went up in my attic and I got masses and masses of boxes, bags, and I burnt masses of things that people had given me, cards, Christmas cards I'd kept since 1985. I'd been carrying them around with me. It's the same as the writing, isn't it? Yeah. I exist. And I burnt them. And then I met, my son came back from Australia, went to university. Not any real contact with his father at all, nothing really. And then I couldn't cope with it anymore. And I said, my therapist was telling me at the time that his father is treating him with contempt. And everybody was telling me at this stage that he had completely ripped us off in the court case. I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't understand. I just didn't understand. Another friend of mine said I'd sold myself really short. I didn't know what they were talking about. Oh. And I then, my friend, I found one of the things I found up in the attic was the information, all the information of the PR work that I'd done with my friend who'd set off to pedal around the planet. So I found him, contacted him, and he was on his way back in America, coming back now. And so I started working with him again, which was just wonderful. And that ended up in 1997 with me doing like the press boat and everything for him and all the media stuff for him when he arrived back in October 2007. So it was really worth going up in my attic and sorting my shit out. You know, it's like going in your subconscious mind, you're looking for what...
I was just meant to find that.
I was meant to find it.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that happened was a couple of one ex-boyfriend. I found a maths book that he used to be my maths teacher, sort of teacher. So I just picked my ear. I do apologise for that. I won't pick my nose as well. In these, ooh, hang on. This maths book just flopped on the floor, and I was like, ugh! I hadn't realised I was still feeling really angry towards him. He lives in India. You wouldn't believe it that within the next day I had a phone call from him. It was like my life from India. Spooky stuff. It was like my life was coming alive, you know. It's like, and so he tipped up. I sorted out all the crap with him and then never saw him again. Someone else tipped up. I found his card, rang him. He came down. We sorted the stuff out. That was done. It's like all the past, all the
nice
ending.
Bit of closure, though, isn't it?
Yes, with every. So this was like my attic was coming alive with all these people that I had to contact. It was like a mad time. Thank goodness I had an open fireplace because I just burnt the lot. Right, okay, let's sort them out then. And then I'd meet them, go and sort them out. They'd pop out of nowhere, and then I'd sort them out, and then that would be it. It's like really cleaning my mind, and this came out, and then I met this guy. I met my old boss. Actually, that's another really poignant thing. My old boss I got in touch with my old boss from when I croupiered in London, and she came down to see me, and she was so happy to see me, and she said that when she came to see me, and this is the same day as I met my ex-partner. She said to me when she first met me when I was in the casino working, because I thought she hated me, she was quite fierce. She actually was keeping an eye out for me. And she said she always used to watch me. I was 21 till 24, 25. And she always used to watch me and say to me, she said to me, I was always worried about you. I used to think, who is looking after this girl? Nobody. She's feral. She's like, nobody's taking care of her. Nobody's looking out for her at all. She's just so on her own in this world. She kept an eye on me. And the other thing that happened around that time was I was having really serious problems with my endometriosis, which my mother told me I'd used to make up for attention. And I was sent out of boarding school, back from boarding school, told I'd never have children. And because of my mother, I can't blame her, but this is how the propaganda works. If I get twinges or something, I think, oh, you're just making it up for attention. I do it to myself now. I did it to myself. And in fact, I went in for an operation. This was just after I'd met my partner for the first time. And they made an error, and they lasered an arterial bit, and I've still got pain now 2 years later, because the endometriosis, was so deep in my lining of my womb. I came out of that operation, and I was wandering around my apple tree screaming at my mother. This is really interesting. This is also probably a part of the healing that started, going, I believed you, you bitch. Where's my husband? Where's my this? You told me I was a piece of shit. You even told me that I was wrong about my endometriosis, and this could have killed me. And I think that was the beginning, to answer Ian's question, about me really waking up, really, really waking up at the level of belief. I mean, I remember driving past this man's house with her when I first moved back to an area, and saying, that's Fred's house. And she said, who's Fred? And I said, he used to work for Daddy, and he messed around with me when I was little, sexually. And she just kept driving, going, oh, you just make up anything for attention. And that was it with the endometriosis. Oh, God, she's an attention-seeking drama queen. I was rushed in and out of hospital from boarding school. Really, really awful on a regular basis. Oh, she'd do anything for attention. They told my mother they thought I was dyslexic. She said she'd do anything for attention. She'd make up anything for attention.
She just didn't listen at all to you, though, did she?
No.